Your call has been forwarded to the automated upload system of
The American Drill Report.
At the tone, please record your message.
Hi, honey. We are going to talk about last Saturday. Before I ask any questions, let us hear your thoughts on Saturday as a whole.
I think Saturday went really well. From a competitor standpoint, at least as far as I've heard, it was a really great day for everybody. I know that's never really the case for anybody who's running the competition. They're usually stressed out and running around like they have no head or hands. I personally had a hard time with all of my tabulation, but it was a big relief at the end of the day when I heard from everybody or most people, and they're like, well, I had a great time. So that was really cool.
So as far as the feng shui of the competition goes, this year was obviously very different than last year for a handful of reasons, one of which was the second GRFC happening the morning of, which was kind of funny because it started as kind of bitter compromise in that there were too many logistical hurdles to the previous venue that I had set for basically anybody. So I still wanted to make it happen this year, begrudging compromise to make it the morning of RCDC, and then it turned out to be kind of awesome. I liked the way that it kind of made a whole day of festivities rather than noon into the heat of the day only. So that was cool. But as far as the execution of RCDC this year, what do you think went better for the actual event compared to last year?
I felt like GRFC was like an appetizer for RCDC in like the best way. It was like getting a triple dipper at Chili's. And I think it put everybody in a much happier mood. It really settled a lot of nerves, and it made, which is the primary objective of RCDC, having fun, the thing. So everybody went out. No nerves were really there. It was probably the best looking street comp that I've seen in a while. What was your other question?
Overall execution of this year versus last year.
Actually, I feel like last year went better for me. I can only speak about my experience from that standpoint, at least. My tabulation was a lot smoother last year, and there weren't any discrepancies that anybody had found. Thankfully, the discrepancies that were found this year were relatively minute, didn't affect anything in medals, were just fixable, able to notify the person whose stuff was messed up, and we're good to go. I did enjoy having tents. Everybody looked a lot more relaxed in the shade. I think next year we're going to have a different type of tent setup to include a water station where there could be coolers with ice and water in it. Maybe even a gallon jug for everybody to fill up their own reusable water bottles from. A judge's tent that is purely for the judges to be in the shade and to also protect my trophies. A tent for the team, a tent for Forward Flow to have their booth, and maybe a couple other tents for just general shade having, maybe some in the amp.
Yeah, I felt like the tents this year were kind of a game changer as far as the overall appearance of what was going on. It made it feel like there was a lot more of a intentional event happening rather than a bunch of people hanging out at a park. So hopefully we can lean even more into that next year. What else I feel like helps is having banners, which I'm on Johnny's ass about, because we need a River City banner and we need a RCDC banner. But the one banner we did have was the inaugural and probably final River City Rifle Flow games, which for anybody that was not there was a game of horse and a game of add-on. And it's probably never happening again because it's a long day, especially with GRFC in the morning, which is probably something that we're going to do again, at least as far as we can tell next year. But it's a long day, and when all the awards are passed out and everything's said and done, and then now there's hey, everybody who wants to play games. Nobody wants to. We had enough people like present that would do it, but as soon as people were out in that game of horse, they were leaving immediately and they wanted to get out of there. Nobody like really had time, or nobody felt like they had time to like stick around and hang out. It was too much. So that'll be a nice little button up at the end of the day, just ending with awards as a event does. Speaking of awards, tell us about the construction process for the River City Awards, because they were dope.
If you aren't aware, I made all of those trophies by hand. Of course, I didn't, like, harvest the wood and cut them into plaques. I got the plaques at Michael's. All of the supplies are from Michael's. I designed a stencil for all of the wording on the plaques according to our new team branding guidelines. So we have a specific font that we use just for River City Drill stuff. And our team colors, I made sure that I matched the blue and the gold exactly to our brand guidelines. I spent about a week and a half staining them, then painting on the text, then painting on our fleur-de-lis, there's something else in there. The laurels, I drew those by hand in Procreate and then turned them into a PNG file and attached them to my Canva design. And then I also printed up our new crest for River City. That's the big thing in the center, that it's in the shape of the shield with the wings, and it has stripes and wings and stuff on it. I printed those out. Those are just nice paper glued on, and then Mod Podged everything up. And I put fasteners on the back of them too, so you guys can hang them up in your house.
Yeah, the awards top down look awesome. I hope that we continue to have awards that look at least something like that for RCDC. And Ethan and Solomon winning tandem, and then Ethan winning solo, for anybody that doesn't know, they're roommates, so they got both of those hanging in their apartment right next to each other. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
But as far as judging goes, it seems almost weird to address because it's like something that I feel like is always said as a joke, but it's said enough that it's like, do we need to talk about something? Do you want to address the rigged allegations?
Yeah. On a funny note, if y'all ever think I'm gonna rig a competition for Jackson to win, yeah, right, buddy. On a more serious note, it can be a little hurtful for this one-woman show to be addressed as a rigged competition, especially whenever my friends are incredibly talented. Not just my River City friends, I mean my independent friends, my out-of-state friends, and stuff like that. I can guarantee you that my competition is not rigged. That was something that I heard last year and this year. It's a hee-hee, ha-ha funny joke. But it's also not. I work really hard to make sure that my competition has integrity to its scores and to its judging, especially because those judges are, if not my dear friends, also my teammates. So I can make sure that those things are not happening.
Yeah, I think so. Like, obviously, it being the River City Drill competition and having judges from River City Drill kind of makes sense. But I know that we tend to lean into the judges coming from who has won worlds or is currently a champion. If there were some independent champions on the solo and tandem podium, would you consider having judges outside of the team in the future?
Yeah, I mean, before I started running the team, or not the team, whoops. Before I started running the competition, Lone Guard would come out and judge for us. Obviously, they had a different relationship with Johnny than they do with me. I'm not as close to them like that. We have Tyler, who is not really a driller anymore, former NGA, but knows drill. He comes out to judge for us. I think having an independent or a CI guy or anybody from any other team is more than welcome to come out and judge. For me, it was easier the last 2 years because I'm not as connected as somebody like Johnny to ask my teammates and friends, hey, instead of competing, you just won Worlds, be my head judge. And they're like, okay, I'll do that. But yeah.
Yeah, I did love having Tyler Smith there. As everybody loves Tyler Smith being anywhere.
And if you don't, you're lying.
Yep. Is there anything else about the event as a whole that you really liked or received any really positive feedback on, or anything that you received negative feedback on?
Mostly the placement of the tent, the head judge tent. You couldn't really see the pad from up in the seating, so that will move next year. I think I talked about it already, if not on the call, then with you. That I'm gonna change the setup so that the team has a place to be. Forward Flow has their booth and stuff like that. But not to toot my own horn, I haven't gotten any negative feedback outside of that and the jokey rigged allegations.
Well, we are doing pretty good on time here. Do you have anything else to say to the current competitor list or the future potential competitors for RCDC 2026?
To this year's competitors, thank you for flying, driving, dragging yourself all the way to Kentucky in the middle of the hottest summer, what it feels like ever. We appreciate you guys coming to our home and experiencing Louisville the way that we can experience Louisville. To the future competitors, pay your dues on time, register in a timely manner. If you have ever any trouble with your entry fee being for some reason an obstacle to you, let me know. I am more than happy to give you an extension if you ask me privately rather than in the group chat. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out and letting me be such a big part in the drill season. It was a huge honor.
Well, we all appreciate you very much, especially me. And I love you, and I'll see you soon.
I love you too. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Stay dialed in. You could be the next call.